Please like, subscribe and share for more videos. The birth of a queen in a far-off time, in a land full of pyramids and sphinxes. A baby girl was born. Her name was Cleopatra. She was not just any girl. She was a princess, born into a royal family in Egypt known as the Ptolemaic dynasty. This family, originally from Greece, had been ruling Egypt for many years. Cleopatra's father was the king of Egypt, Ptolemy XII, and her mother was possibly Cleopatra V Tryphena, the queen. Cleopatra grew up in a grand palace in Alexandria, the capital city of Egypt, surrounded by wonders like the famous library and a tall lighthouse visible from far away. As a princess, Cleopatra was not only a member of the royal family but also a student. She learned various subjects, including reading and writing, and embraced the traditions of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which believed in many gods and goddesses, just like the rest of the Egyptian people. Despite being a princess destined to become queen, Cleopatra's early years were filled with learning, playing, and preparation for her future role. She watched her father rule Egypt, learning how to make decisions and deal with problems. Cleopatra understood the importance of connecting with the people of Egypt and, as a result, learned their language and customs. Her upbringing was a blend of royal responsibilities and the innocence of childhood. Growing up in the royal palace of Alexandria, Cleopatra's life differed from that of most girls. The palace was not just a home but also a place of learning, work, and power. Cleopatra had tutors who taught her languages, history, religion, mathematics, and science. She showed a particular interest in Egypt's gods and goddesses, as well as the rituals associated with them. Despite the serious nature of her education and the weight of her future responsibilities, Cleopatra still enjoyed moments of fun and play with her siblings. Life in the palace was a mix of serious learning and royal responsibilities, along with joy and play. As Cleopatra grew older, she knew that her destiny was to become queen. The path to the throne was not always easy, with challenges and changes along the way. Her father faced problems with the people of Egypt, leading to his temporary departure to Rome for help. Cleopatra witnessed her older sister Berenice becoming queen during her father's absence, but upon his return, there was conflict and tragedy. Cleopatra's father's death when she was 18 marked a sad time, but it was also the moment for her to ascend the throne. Tradition dictated that she ruled alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XII. Despite the challenges, Cleopatra displayed strength and intelligence, addressing issues such as food shortages and opposition to her rule. She demonstrated her capability to be a good queen, using her knowledge and skills to make decisions that benefited Egypt. Cleopatra's journey to power was filled with courage and determination. Despite facing challenges, changes, sadness, and opposition, she remained focused on her goal. Cleopatra's reign had begun, marking the start of her time as the last queen of Egypt. It was a period of change and challenge, but Cleopatra was ready to be the queen she was born to be, using the knowledge she gained from her father, tutors, and the palace. The story of Cleopatra was truly underway. Cleopatra was now Queen of Egypt. She was young, only 18 years old. She ruled with her brother Ptolemy XIII, who was even younger. He was just a boy. Despite her youth, Cleopatra was ready to be queen. She had prepared for this all her life. Her first days as queen were difficult. Egypt was facing many problems. There was not enough food, and the people were not happy. Some people did not want a young girl as their queen. They wanted her brother to rule alone. Cleopatra had to show them that she could be a good queen. She was a clever queen who used her knowledge and skills to solve problems. She listened to the people of Egypt and tried to make sure there was enough food for everyone. She worked hard every day. It was not easy, but Cleopatra was determined. Despite the challenges, Cleopatra also had successes. She was the first of her family to learn the Egyptian language. This made the people of Egypt happy. They saw that their queen cared about them and their culture. Cleopatra also followed the Egyptian tradition of presenting herself as a goddess. She chose to be identified with Isis, the goddess of magic, motherhood, and healing. This also made the people love her more. Cleopatra's early days as queen were not just about work. She also had some fun times. She lived in a beautiful palace, wore beautiful clothes, attended grand feasts, and met with important people from other countries. She even had a ship with purple sails. Being a young queen was not easy, but Cleopatra was not afraid. She faced the challenges with courage and celebrated the successes with joy. She learned from each day and became a better queen. She was becoming the queen she wanted to be and the queen Egypt needed. These were the early days of Cleopatra's rule, the start of her journey as queen. It was a time of learning and growing, a time of struggle and success. Through it all, Cleopatra showed her strength and wisdom. She was proving to everyone that she was not just a young queen but a great queen. The story of Cleopatra's rule was just beginning. Being a queen was not just about living in a palace and wearing beautiful clothes. It was also about politics and power. Cleopatra knew this very well. She knew that to be a good queen, she had to be a good leader, and to be a good leader, she had to understand politics. Politics is about making decisions for the country. It's about solving problems and making sure the people are happy. It's also about dealing with other countries. Cleopatra was very good at politics. She was smart and understood how to make good decisions. One of the biggest problems Cleopatra faced was with her brother Ptolemy XIII. He was young, but he was also the king. There were people who wanted him to rule alone. They did not like Cleopatra and made it hard for her to be queen. But Cleopatra did not give up. She fought for her place on the throne. Cleopatra also had to deal with other countries. Egypt was not alone in the world. There were many powerful countries nearby. One of these was Rome. Rome was very strong and very important. Cleopatra knew that it was good for Egypt to be friends with Rome. To make this friendship stronger, Cleopatra met with Julius Caesar, the leader of Rome. She was very brave and very clever. She knew that Caesar could help her keep her throne, so she went to him not as a queen asking for help but as a queen offering friendship. This meeting was a big success. Caesar and Cleopatra became friends. He helped her fight against the people who did not want her to be queen. With Caesar's help, Cleopatra became the sole ruler of Egypt. These were the early days of Cleopatra's rule, the days of politics and power. It was a time of challenges and changes, a time of friendships and fights. Through it all, Cleopatra showed her strength and wisdom. She proved that she was not just a queen but a great leader. The story of Cleopatra's rule was becoming even more exciting. As queen, Cleopatra knew that it was important to connect with her people. She wanted to be more than just a ruler. She wanted to be an icon, a symbol of Egypt. She wanted to be a queen that the people could love and respect. One of the ways Cleopatra connected with her people was by learning their language. Most of the Ptolemaic rulers before her did not speak Egyptian, they spoke Greek. But Cleopatra was different. She learned Egyptian and used it to speak to her people. This made her people feel special. They saw that their queen cared about them and their language. Cleopatra also respected the Egyptian religion. She often appeared as the goddess Isis in public ceremonies. Isis was a very important goddess in Egypt. She was the goddess of motherhood, magic, and healing. By presenting herself as Isis, Cleopatra showed her people that she was not just their queen but also their goddess. This made her people love and respect her even more. But Cleopatra did not stop there. She also built many temples and monuments. These buildings were not just beautiful. They were also symbols of Cleopatra's power and generosity. They reminded the people of Egypt that their queen was strong and kind. Cleopatra also made sure that she was seen by her people. She took part in many public events. She led religious ceremonies and visited different parts of Egypt. Everywhere she went, she was met with cheers and smiles. The people of Egypt loved their queen. Cleopatra's efforts were successful. She became an icon of Egypt. She was not just a queen. She was a symbol of Egyptian power, culture, and religion. She was a symbol of Egyptian pride. These were the days of Cleopatra's rule, the days when she became an icon of Egypt. She connected with her people, respected their culture, and showed them love and kindness. In return, they gave her their love and respect. The story of Cleopatra, the queen who became an icon, was truly a story to remember. The Roman connection in the story of Cleopatra's life took an exciting turn when she met a man named Julius Caesar. Caesar was not just any man, he was a powerful leader from Rome. Cleopatra knew that meeting him could change her life and the future of Egypt. The meeting with Caesar was not easy for Cleopatra. At the time, her younger brother Ptolemy XIII was trying to take her throne. He did not want her to be queen, making it difficult for her to meet Caesar. But Cleopatra was not afraid, she was brave and clever. To meet Caesar, Cleopatra came up with a plan. She had herself wrapped in a beautiful carpet and was carried into Caesar's room. When the carpet was unrolled, there was Cleopatra, looking beautiful and powerful. Caesar was surprised and impressed. From that moment, Cleopatra and Caesar became friends. They spent a lot of time together, discussing Egypt, Rome, power, politics, dreams, and hopes. Cleopatra, smart and strategic, knew that being friends with Caesar could help her keep her throne and strengthen the bond between Egypt and Rome. Their friendship, however, developed into something more. Cleopatra and Caesar fell in love, and they had a son together named Caesarion, meaning Little Caesar. This meeting with Caesar changed Cleopatra's life, making her stronger and more powerful. It also gave her a son, but most importantly, it gave her a friend and a lover. The story of Cleopatra and Caesar is one of courage and cleverness, power and politics, but it's also a tale of love and friendship. Their alliance was not just about power, it was about family. The birth of their son, Caesarion, solidified the connection between Egypt and Rome. Cleopatra and Caesar's alliance was powerful, changing the course of history. It made Cleopatra stronger, elevated Egypt's importance, and led to the birth of a new king. However, tragedy struck when Julius Caesar was assassinated in Rome by some of his own people. Cleopatra was heartbroken, losing her friend, lover, and the father of her son. Despite the challenges that followed Caesar's death, Cleopatra remained a strong queen. She made her son, Caesarion, her co-ruler to secure the throne's protection. The death of Caesar was a tragic event in Cleopatra's life, marked by loss and sadness. Still, it showcased her strength, determination, and courage as a powerful and resilient leader. The story of Cleopatra and Caesar's death is one of love, loss, strength, and survival, revealing Cleopatra as a woman who faced challenges with grace and determination. Mark Antony and Cleopatra's story continued after Julius Caesar's death. Cleopatra, now alone, sought a new ally to help maintain her throne and protect her son. She met Mark Antony, a Roman leader and a friend of Julius Caesar. Antony, becoming one of the most powerful men in Rome after Caesar's death, was seen as a potential ally by Cleopatra. In a remarkable encounter, Cleopatra sailed to Tarsus, dressed as the goddess Venus, on a lavishly decorated ship filled with flowers and sweet scents. Antony was captivated by Cleopatra's beauty, intelligence, and confidence. Inviting Antony to join her on the ship, Cleopatra treated him with respect and generosity, creating a strong bond between them. Cleopatra and Antony's relationship developed beyond a mere political alliance. They fell in love and had 3 children together: Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Selene II, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. This union brought happiness and love to Cleopatra's life, providing her with hope for the future. Their alliance extended beyond personal connections to shared rule. Cleopatra and Antony ruled Egypt together, with Antony adopting Egyptian customs and lifestyle. This shared rule brought peace, stability, and prosperity to Egypt, endearing the couple to the people. Cleopatra and Antony's partnership was not only about power. It was a story of love, family, teamwork, and cooperation. They worked together for the common goal of creating a better future for their children and their country. One significant event during their shared rule was the donations of Alexandria in 34 BC. In this grand ceremony, Antony bestowed lands and titles upon Cleopatra and their children, solidifying their power and influence. The donations of Alexandria marked a turning point in their reign, showcasing Cleopatra's rise to even greater power. The story of Cleopatra and Antony's shared rule is a narrative of power, generosity, love, and a queen's adeptness in ruling with strength, wisdom, and grace. The Battle of Actium marked a critical point in Cleopatra's life and the fate of Egypt. While ruling alongside Mark Antony, tensions rose between them and Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, who aimed to be the sole ruler of Rome. Octavian saw Antony as a threat and grew increasingly discontent with his alliance with Cleopatra. The donations of Alexandria, a grand event that made Cleopatra and Antony more powerful in Egypt, was perceived differently in Rome. Octavian spread rumors about Antony, depicting him as unfaithful to Rome and under Cleopatra's control. This led to increasing anger among the Roman people, turning the friendship between Antony and Octavian into a bitter rivalry. The tension escalated into war, and Octavian declared war on Antony and Cleopatra, leading to the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. This battle, fought in Greece, marked a fierce confrontation between the forces of Antony and Cleopatra against Octavian. Despite initial strength, Cleopatra's ship unexpectedly left the battle, causing Antony's soldiers to lose hope and resulting in their defeat. The Battle of Actium proved disastrous for Cleopatra and Antony, with Octavian emerging victorious. This defeat marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the Roman Republic, paving the way for the Roman Empire under Octavian, who later became Augustus. In the aftermath, Antony and Cleopatra returned to Egypt, facing challenges of a weakened rule, economic struggles, and the fear of Octavian's impending attack. Octavian, now Augustus, launched an invasion of Egypt in 30 BC. Antony attempted to resist but realized defeat was inevitable. In despair, Antony took his own life. Upon hearing of Antony's death, Cleopatra was heartbroken and scared of facing captivity at the hands of Octavian. In a final act of courage and dignity, she allowed herself to be bitten by a poisonous snake, choosing to die on her terms rather than be paraded as a prisoner in Rome. The tragic deaths of Cleopatra and Antony marked the end of an era, concluding the Ptolemaic dynasty and leading to Egypt becoming a province of Rome. Octavian, now Augustus, became the first emperor of Rome, shaping the future of the Roman Empire. Cleopatra's story, in the aftermath of the Battle of Actium, is one of loss, tragedy, but also a demonstration of her courage and grace in facing a fate she could not escape. After the defeat at the Battle of Actium, Mark Antony's life took a tragic turn. He returned to Egypt a changed man, no longer the strong, confident Roman general or the powerful co-ruler of Egypt. Filled with sadness and regret, Antony attempted to maintain his rule in Egypt, but it was evident that things were not the same. His power was weakened, the people were scared, and Octavian, his formidable enemy, was growing stronger. In 30 BC, Octavian attacked Egypt, and Antony, realizing the futility of resistance, faced a losing battle. Octavian's forces proved too formidable, and defeat was inevitable. Upon receiving the devastating news of Cleopatra's death, Antony, devastated and heartbroken, made the drastic decision to take his own life. Falling on his sword, his last thoughts were of Cleopatra, the woman he loved. Though defeated and heartbroken, Antony died with honor, choosing to control his fate and leaving behind a legacy of love and courage. Cleopatra, now alone and facing the impending threat of Octavian, demonstrated her true strength in her final days. Refusing to surrender or be paraded through the streets of Rome, she devised a plan to choose her own fate. Cleopatra chose a noble end, allowing a small poisonous snake to bite her, ensuring a dignified death. In her final act, she denied Octavian the satisfaction of capturing her, remaining a queen until the very end. Cleopatra's final days were a testament to her strength and courage. Despite certain defeat, she held on to her dignity, shaping her own destiny and ensuring she would be remembered as a woman of power and determination. Her death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and Egypt's independence, but her legacy endured. Cleopatra's impact on history as a powerful leader, skilled diplomat, loving mother, and symbol of resistance is undeniable. Her intelligence, charm, and strategic thinking left an indelible mark on history, inspiring books, movies, and artworks. Cleopatra's legacy continues to captivate people worldwide, a testament to her ability to shape her own destiny and that of her kingdom.